Today's video is for Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, directed by Christopher McQuarrie. The music composer was Max Araj and Alfred Godfrey. The prosthetic coordinator was Lauren Halls. The cast included Tom Cruise, Hannah Whitingham, and Isai Morales. The film is about Ethan Hunt and the IMF team race against time to find the Entity, a rogue AI that can destroy mankind. So this was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It didn't need to be 3 hours, but it didn't feel like 3 hours. It is a little convoluted at times, and I feel like there's a couple of plot holes here and there. I'm a little surprised with the extensive amount of exposition and flashbacks in this day and age, because there are 3 ways, if not more, you can catch up to follow the franchise better. One is Google what happened with the movies. 2, watch any number of YouTube recap videos. Or 3, binge all the movies. I chose the second option. And this is the first film in the franchise to make extensive use of flashback footage to previous films. It had a good cast, but some of the newer cast members felt like they weren't sure what to do with their roles. Tom Cruise and Ving Rhames were the only actors to appear in all 8 films. So here are some spoilers. Since this was the final movie, and they were doing so many flashbacks, I was hoping we'd have a little more information on Marie, who was killed by Gabriel. And I wish we saw more of the clock counting down. And I wish they had talked more about the risk of shutting down the Entity, because it would also supposedly shut down in the entire cyberspace. And we very rarely hear about that aspect. We see a couple people concerned and trying to stop Ethan, but honestly, wish we saw more. I love that Don Lowe returns, and it's not just a quick cameo, but how and why was he able to keep that knife? This movie was a little more, and this isn't the right word, but seemed to be more bloody and violent than the rest of the films. So it's stated at some point that only 2 months have passed since Dead Reckoning. How has the Entity been able to have so many followers and build up an army that fast? I think it would have been better if more time had passed, like 6 months or a year. And why was Luther sick? Did I miss something? In Dead Reckoning, he seemed fine. And why did Luther have to die? That was, The Rabbit's Foot makes his return to the franchise after 19 years. Tom Cruise has often said that though it was simply meant to be an object to propel the plot, fans of the franchise are still very much wanting to know what the purpose was. The key to Ethan's handcuffs in Rogue Nation was purposely adorned with an actual rabbit's foot keychain as a reference to the fans, and I don't recall that, so maybe I need to watch that movie again. And it is interesting that they brought back the rabbit's foot and made it part of being something related to the AI. I don't really like the possibility of Ethan and Grace having a romance, especially if this is just 2 months after Ilsa's death. It just didn't feel right, and just in general, not just because of the 2 months thing, but just in general. General Sidney's death scene was a little weird, and he dies, and nobody seems to care all that much, and it didn't have any impact to the plot at all. It's like, and the agent trying to shoot the president and killing Sidney instead didn't need to happen. It was almost like they wanted last minute tension, but there's already tension. They don't know if Ethan's going to succeed or not. To me, that whole thing didn't need to happen. I love Paris cradling Benji towards the end after the mission has succeeded. I was hoping we would see Ethan take a hammer to the Entity once it was trapped in that little capsule. And if this isn't the final movie, how do you top this? If this really is the final movie, I wish that Jim Renner had made some type of appearance. I respect his decision to do less filmmaking outside the US to be with his daughter, but I really do wish he had made an appearance in some way. And if this is the final film because Cruise wants to move on, then I respect that as well. But if it's the studio cracking down, I hope Cruise has more in store for the franchise. And if this is the final film we see for a long time, then I think they should bring back the show with fresh, unknown faces and the stunts, and have Tom Cruise or Christopher McQuarrie produce or even direct a couple of episodes. So what are your thoughts on this movie? Do you want to see more from the franchise, or do you think it's time to end? Would you like to see a revival of the show? What is your favorite Mission movie? Comment down below, like, share, subscribe. This message will self-destruct in 5 seconds.